everybody, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you a summer garden tour. Guys, the garden is looking really good. We've had some success and some failure, and I want to share with you guys exactly what's growing in the garden right now in June. Hey guys, good morning. I hope you're having a fantastic day, week, month. My name is Lacey, and I am sitting out here in the early morning. It's about 7 a.m., not too early, but I just let some of the birds out, and it's kind of like half foggy, a little bit like, I don't know, it reminds me of like an English countryside, which here in Texas is not a thing. Everything's just really hot and crispy, so for it to be a kind of like misty morning feels very exotic almost. The neighbor's peacock is out. It just feels like a good morning, so I thought we would do a garden tour. So let's start with my favorite area, and that's this little area out here that's not like part of the garden, but it is garden adjacent. I have a lot of garden adjacent areas, it seems. So I have this beautiful zinnia growing in this pot, and it's about to bloom. It's going to be so beautiful. I think this is a purple prince. I just kind of like filled this pot up after this mum died in the fall. But the mums come back in the spring here in our area, and they're so beautiful. And let me just show you why I love the morning glory. Because it is absolutely beautiful. Look at that. And doesn't it look pretty trailing up this little trellis that I had the sunflower in? So cute. Okay, so here's my cactus garden. This is a dragon fruit, so you can see if you've been watching any of my garden tours like how much growth it has gotten. And what they do is they put these little like tendrils out, so that's like just kind of an interesting thing about them. I had to figure out how to kind of stake this until it's tall enough to put inside this modular trellis that I got off of Amazon, or my husband got off of Amazon. This is a beautiful agastache bush. I planted this here at the beginning of the spring, and it is looking so stunning, and I love the purple flowers that kind of jut out in all kinds of directions. It's wild, but it's beautiful. I got a little pot full of succulents back here, and here are the cannas. I love this variegated foliage on this one. Isn't that beautiful? It looks like brush strokes, and the yellow flowers. These have been blooming and blooming and blooming. They're just nonstop. In this one, I have another canna. This is a red one, so you can see the difference in the foliage is like striking. But look how huge these leaves are getting. Ah, they look so gorgeous. That's a coleus I planted down in there, and here are some coleus as well at the bottom. These are just little clippings, and I rooted them out. Here is another zinnia. This is like one of the first ones to open. How beautiful is that color? Absolutely gorgeous. And I haven't done zinnias before, so that's really fun to get to do some pretty things this year. Here's my little tomato plant. Look how big it is. It's almost as big as the trellis, or it is as big as the trellis now. But yeah, I just love this little space, especially in the morning. Like, you get to see all the reflections, and everything's so pretty. And this little watering can has like strings of lights that lights up. Super fun. So this is the first garden bed when you walk out. We've had some struggle in this bed because this is the squash bed. So a squash vine borer came and pretty much, I mean several of them I'm sure, but destroyed the squash plants. So everything's been pulled out of here. That's why you see these bare spots. And what has been replaced are bush beans, because in June in zone 9 you can still do bush beans. There's not a whole lot that you can start in June after basically now. It just gets really hot and really unrelenting. So you can see this was like a squash, or, you know, a yellow squash that was going to do something, and then it wasn't able to because check out this stem. So you can see, like, I just barely pulled it and it popped off. It's horrible. So what they do is they go and they just pop a hole at the base of your plant where it comes out of the ground like this, and they lay their eggs inside of there, and then their eggs mature and they sprout larvae and they eat all the way through your plant and just destroy it. So you can have some pretty leaves on top and then it just straight up die. So that's what's happening to this one, and that's also what's happening to this beautiful one. I'm trying to give it just a little more time to see if it'll continue to do things, because sometimes if they've been attacked by the squash vine borer, all they need is to like be left alone. Now some will straight up die, but I've had a couple that will still do something even after their stem is kind of destroyed, but we'll see. These two pepper plants, I'm not sure what they are, but they were given to me because they were not doing well in their space. Which mine aren't doing super great this year either, but I'm going to try to plant them in this bed and see how they do over here. I might also put them in a bed with a little more sun, because I think that's kind of what's going on with mine, but we'll see. This is my first space. Ooh, spider. I just about walked into him. Hi, guy. He's protector of the tomatoes. Well, in this bed, it would have been squash. You didn't do a good job, bro. Okay, so let's go take a look at some of these roses. So I need a deadhead really bad. This is all from this week, or basically like this week and last week. You can see this is an old spent bloom, and here is the newer, fresher one, and this was beautiful. They are yellow with like a coral edge. So pretty. And I do have another round coming on, so I want to go ahead and deadhead these pretty soon, maybe today. This is a Julia Childs. So here's what the bloom looks like. This is an older bloom. And this is what it looks like when it's just starting to peak. It's super buttery yellow and absolutely makes sense for the Julia Childs name. It's putting on lots of new growth and looking really pretty. I think next year it will really shine. This rose is called True Friendship. All of my roses are yellow. This one's a little paler, so this is an old bloom, obviously. Here's a new one about to put on, but this is a very lemony yellow rose, versus like that kind of warmer, buttery yellow. This is like a cool toned yellow, although I don't know if that's an oxymoron or not. But again, I need a deadhead. I really like this bush, I will say. So I got this one at Lowe's this year, and it's, like I said, a True Friendship. But look at how really nice the foliage is. It's super glossy and green, and it seems to be just really non-stop blooming. So it hasn't not had at least one bloom on it pretty much since I got it. Oh, another spider, and this time I did walk into his web. Hi, guy. I walked straight into his web. Uh-oh, sorry. That's my bad, bro. This one is called Shockwave. It is also really fun. This is a David Austin rose. The Julia Child is also a David Austin rose, but this one is called Shockwave, and it has very like yellow, true yellow flowers, and it usually has several on at a time. And you can see that it is at the end of that round, so it'll start putting out more flowers pretty shortly. It doesn't take long at all. But I love my rose wall, essentially. So what I want to have is really like a straight row of roses. So like when you look at the property from this side, all you would see is yellow roses. And I just love that. We're in Texas, you know, that's a thing here, yellow rose of Texas. Over here are the sunflowers and the corn. And it actually has become kind of a mixed bed because of like popping things into places. So when you run out of space, you just start popping things in. And so we have several different pepper plants over here. This one's doing really well. It's a super pepper, and you can see lots of fruit on it. So I got fruit And there's like some more back there. And they kind of grow in an upwards fashion, so they're really interesting. And they're supposed to be very prolific and do well. And this one is doing really good, so I'm happy with that one. This is a little dill plant. I have dill and marigolds kind of all over now. That was the goal, is I needed some sacrificial plants to keep the bugs at bay. So the sunflowers are starting to die off their first round. So this one is strange because it like put all of its flowers on at once. So you can see that. So they're all dying, but they were all on. But the rest of them, so what they do, let me pull one here. So this one, this is the head, and these are the seeds of this sunflower that has died, right? Well, on the other side, we have, like, in the crooks, they grow a bunch of different bulbs, and so you'll have more sunflowers. So there's a little sunflower in that little crook. There's one there. Over here, let me see. Oh my goodness, where? Oh, here we go. So you can see this is what they look like when they start to form, these little buds. And they're in all the little armpits of the plant. So if I take this off, I'm pretty sure it will cause the rest of those to start blooming. So in any case, I just want them for the seed heads. I give them as a treat to the chickens, so that's what we do there. In the other side, so we had a bad storm come through yesterday. It wasn't bad, I shouldn't say, but it was just really strong and short, I guess. So here's the corn, and it's knocked over pretty well. But we have ears of corn, little baby ears of corn. So exciting. Here's some more down here. You can see that. But yeah, so you can see they're completely knocked over. What I'm thinking about doing next year is I'm going to put them in like circular bunches and then tie them together. And I think that's gonna alleviate some of these problems. I saw somebody do that and it looked like, whoa, that was genius, hello. So I'm gonna be doing that next year. Corn is a first for me this year. I've never done it before. I just didn't know if the risk was worth reward, but since I got this new garden space, I just thought, well, I'm gonna stick some in this first bed and just have something really lush and green, because like look how lush and green that is, especially when you walk up. So this is the wisteria that we planted here. So this is planted in the ground and it goes up this trellis, and you can see this has gotten about 4 feet at least worth of growth on this thing. It's doing so well, and it's already bloomed for the year. When we bought it, it was in bloom. So it won't bloom again until next year, but I just love the foliage. So exciting. And I found out that I need to be watering it just a little bit more. So this is an ongoing project. We plan to be here for a long time. So I have planted a couple of trees. So this was done in the last couple of weeks here. This is a baby crepe myrtle. So this will get about 7 to 9 feet tall. And it is a black crepe myrtle called Shadow Magic. It has red blooms. Now, it probably won't bloom for maybe this year and next year. It is a perennial tree, flowering tree, so it takes a little time sometimes. But that's okay because we have the time. But it does grow pretty quickly. It just might not flower next year, which is fine with me. I'm actually considering leaving it as a bush instead of training it into a tree because of, like, aesthetics. It'll do great either way. So this is a black Shadow Magic crepe myrtle, and its foliage is just so dark, and like even the stems are red. It is so pretty. It's so pretty up against the other color, so like you have something bright green and then this black, and it's like pretty. So this is the bright green here that I'm talking about. This is a loblolly pine. And check this out. It's so green and beautiful, and it's doing amazing in this spot. It's been in here for about, like I said, 2 weeks, and it is doing super duper well. So this should take about 5 years to get like any kind of good height. So that's why we wanted to get this in early on in our journey here. We haven't been here very long, as you know, so I want to make sure that I start getting some of those things that take longer established so that I can enjoy them longer. So this thing will get like 60 feet tall, and it'll be a beautiful backdrop and a little bit of like separation between my house and my parents' house there. But the reason I set them like this is they're directly in front of each other, and I want that really bright green, kind of like soft feathery texture behind this leafy black, purple, red look. And when you kind of think about like this one's gonna be huge, this one's gonna be short, but it's right in my picture frame. I don't know if you guys followed along, but this is why I wanted this. So I have these beautiful trellises here my husband built for me. But I wanted something to be in the picture frame. So we planted them in the middle of the picture frame, and they're gonna be beautiful. So when you come out here, you're gonna get to see something really, really gorgeous when you're walking through. I'm also going to extend the garden bed, so it will actually kind of encompass that. So there'll be gravel around it. I may make a planter or something just for pretty and put flowers under each one of those trees, but like it'll go around that. So when we extend this space in the coming years, it'll just go around the beautiful trees and become a real part of the garden. And guys, the rooster's going crazy over there. The rooster and the geese. Okay, so let's go back over here. This is my second garden bed on this left side. We have onions. They're doing well. They're coming along. They take a while. And this is 4 Roma tomatoes right here. That's all that is, but they are just huge and thriving and loving life in their spot, doing really well. I need to come and prune a little bit, in fact, a lot of it, and kind of get this going. And I have several that are ripening, so back there's one that's ripening, and those 2 are ready to come off today probably, but it rained, so I might give it a day. This right here is my Thai basil. I need to come and pinch some blooms off, but it's looking beautiful. Back here is a huge cinnamon bush, and or cinnamon basil. I actually found out that I didn't like this as much as this Thai basil this year, although it's been great in like teas. So if you ever do a basil tea, if you go watch Roots and Refuge Farms, she has amazing like recipe for the basil tea, and that's where I copied from. But it is so, so good. But yes, this is good in the basil tea, but that's kind of all I like it in, unfortunately. It's just not that good. Not that good. Back here I have a Genovese. So this is just an Italian sweet basil, and it is really putting on a lot of growth right now. So I do pinch back. It's kind of in between these tomatoes. But it's doing well. But I did pinch it back, and it grew really, really nicely. Here is another pepper plant. This is a garden salsa, and these guys have been doing well. They got a little nitrogen deficient, so I had to kind of put a little fertilizer on here. I use organic fertilizer, and I put that on here. When I go to like take everything out of this bed at the end of the season, I'm gonna compost it, so that way it gets really, really healthy and I don't have to keep fertilizing. Right here is a Mexican pepper plant, and it's looking beautiful. Here is another basil. This I believe is the African blue basil. Oh no, this is red rubio, but it's greened out again because of some of the deficiency in this soil. So we bought specifically soil that was meant for gardening, and it's honestly, we paid more for it, and I gotta be honest, not super thrilled. This pot used to have squash, as did this, but the borers got to it. This one still has a squash, but I'm gonna replace. So I planted some more okra, and they are actually doing really, really well here. I'm gonna pull them out. Sorry, I had a fly on me. I'm gonna pull these out a little further to get more of that direct morning sun. Right here in this pot, I have orange basil. So this is orange bergamot basil. I have like a little baby petunia plant in there. This is the African blue basil. It's doing really, really pretty here. It has gone to flower, and the good thing is that like blue basil, you can let that go to flower and it's still gonna taste good. So no worries there. But I did want to kind of see if it would self-seed in this pot. That way next year, if I just have the basil and the mint in there, it's not gonna bother me. If I just have the mint in there, it won't bother me either. So this is an agastache. This is sunrise blue, I believe. Oh no, I have it. Agastache hyssop. hyssop, I remembered. But isn't that the most beautiful color? It's like a pale periwinkle, and I really, really love it. In this bed, so these were the radishes we harvested, and the next batch started going straight to seed, so it's just a little too hot right now. So I pulled up all the radishes and I planted some seed potatoes. So I've never done potatoes either. It seems like the basic things are what scares me. So corn and potatoes. I don't know. I just have never done them. So I'm trying them out. I'm going to see. It's kind of an experiment. I started them pretty late. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I'm not bothered. I can put something else there in the fall. So my rosemary's doing really well. I am going to pull these out at the end of the season and put them somewhere else, though, because they need a little more sun. Here is a holy basil. It also is okay to go to flower, so I'm letting it flower. It'll still have good flavor, but I might go ahead and pinch that back just to get some pretty, some pretty bushy basil. I like the look of bushy, lush things. Right here is a chocolate bell pepper that is doing nothing. It did do something, and then something bit it, so it got a little mad at me. Here are the okra plants. They're starting to really look good. I'll show you another okra plant another time that's doing really, really well. It's over on the side by the chicken pens. It'll be a little loud if I go over there right now, though. Those geese, they want to come out. Here is a spicy globe basil, and you can see it grows in this beautiful globe shape, and a lettuce leaf basil there as well. And they're doing great. Oh, I forgot to show you the cucumbers. So over here in the squash bed, I have this beautiful cucumber, and look how good it is doing. All I had to do was pick it up and put the first little tendril on, and then it kind of just took off. So it's starting to get a little height, and it's going to look really pretty coming over, I hope. We'll see if it does do that. Here in this pot is the same cucumber, and it is also looking really lovely. This has 2 plants, and the one on the other side has 3. That's some stuff from washing the dog yesterday. And it should kind of like meet in the middle and create a really pretty trellised effect. Over here in this bed, this is stevia in the back, and it needs to be pinched back really bad. This is mint, and I've kind of shaved off the top layer here, and it is coming in beautifully. So this is a peppermint on this side and spearmint, and you can tell the difference. So this is what the peppermint looks like. It has kind of like smoother edges, and the spearmint over here has those beautiful scalloped edges. This is the Agastache Sunrise Blue. Look at that. That is so pretty. And that is a little bluer than that kind of periwinkle color over there. Here are 2 more Roma tomatoes over here, and they fell down because of the windy storm yesterday. There we go. We have a little fruit coming on. That's super exciting. Over here, again, this is a gypsy pepper. It's kind of like a banana pepper. Some zinnias kind of thrown in. Coneflowers kind of thrown in. So I decided to plant this Kentucky Wonder Bean. Oh, I don't know. That one might bit the dust. So I planted these Kentucky Wonder Beans to come and trellis over this for pole beans here. This is garlic chive. So it's super great. It's garlicky and chivey. It's exactly what its name is. And it's great on all kinds of things. Sorry, my nose was running. I had to itch my nose. Right here, these are my Hansel eggplants. Check them out. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of pick that up for you. And they are doing it. They are doing their thing. I got about 6 on right now. I'm thinking I'm going to look into pruning those a little bit. They might need their bottom leaves off, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm willing to test it out. I'm kind of an experimenter. These are mystery beans. Yeah, so I don't actually know what these beans are. They were given to me, so I planted a few out, and they are starting to kind of like roam up. So they are some kind of a pole bean, but they don't look like the Kentucky Wonders. So there's something. Right here are some more Kentucky Wonders. If you have watched my other videos, you know that this was asparagus beans. And I think it's my turkey, possibly, has just like come in and nipped all of them at the bud as soon as they were doing anything. So I had this pot full of them too, and it was literally like all the way up to the top of this trellis, starting to put on beans, and they nipped them. I was like, you're kidding me. So like, here's one. This was, I left to dry out, so I can probably pull this off. But you're kidding me. I was so disappointed when I came out and saw that. That was just heartbreaking because I was really excited about them this year. Okay, so over here, these are the gypsy peppers. So you can see they've been treated for nitrogen deficiency as well, and they're starting to put on, and they got their color back. They're looking beautiful. Right here is a beautiful little dill plant that has gone to seed, which is totally fine with me because, again, the dill plants were placed sacrificially for the caterpillars, and they did their job. Right here, oh, get out of here. Hey, you. Hey, you. Okay, I'm going to leave you for a second, but I'm coming back for you. Don't play with me. Okay, so these are green bell peppers, and I actually have several bell peppers on. Let me see if I can find one. Here we go. So pretty. And these are my other 4 Hansel eggplants, and they are looking lovely. Check out those blooms. They're a little dirty from the rain. Oh, and here is another zinnia that has popped open. This one's a little leggy. There were nasturtiums placed in here, but my chickens have ate the nasturtiums. So anything that's a little bit low or in the pots, I guess I can't be too mad because I have chickens and they're gonna chicken, right? So I also made just 1 or 2 changes with the trellises. So I decided I was gonna do a chandelier, but I decided to hang this hanging fern up there. And I think it looks like it gives the effect of a chandelier, but it's so pretty. And then I hung up this stained glass piece, and I'm planning on kind of doing more blue stained glass pieces throughout, and another fern up in this trellis as well. So that is like the main garden space. Over here I have my beautiful coleus. It got knocked over in the storm. I was so disappointed, but it'll bounce back, but it's just gonna take a week. But it's looking like glorious and beautiful. I was like, wow. The pond is ponding. Looking great, looking great. We did have to come in and redo a couple things, so the housing for the pump is open. But look at my elephant ears, looking beautiful. It's looking gorgeous. Very, very lush. The perennials are doing really great. A lot of the little annual coleus and polka dot plants and celosia are all dying. And this leaf got so sunburnt, I don't even know why. And I would say, oh, it's diseased or something. No, it was crispy in one day. That was crazy. But the rest of the plant is doing fine. Just this one, I don't know. I don't know if it was just a super bright sun as soon as it popped open, and that was not gonna go well. Here are some pumpkin vines I have in the chaos garden. There's something growing there, and a little baby okra. So there's kind of random things in this little patch. So this is my well house. And it's just this structure that we built for this. And I decided this was a hole here because, again, the well was dug out and they left this little hole here. And so what I did was I just kind of lined it with these logs, and I used it as a planting space this year, and I'll probably change that up next year because the birds love it. This area we now have caged off, but this is such a beautiful trellis my husband built for me on the side of this well house so that we can have something pretty as a backdrop to the pond. So that's the pond, and then this is your backdrop. I mean, the rest of the farm, but so down here is a Japanese honeysuckle, and you can see when we got it, it was right here at this first one, and it is just taken off. It's super beautiful, and it's very, very fragrant. Along with the wisteria that we have vining over in the garden beds, we really wanted to have the impact of the smell of things when you came in. This is a variety of coleus. This is Witch's Brew or Witch's Broom. I can't remember. This is like a red velvet one, and I don't know the variety of the brownish one. It's actually kind of like dusty looking, but it's pretty. They look really pretty together. They were in a big pot, and I planted them down here. It's kind of the perfect spot for them because I have to water this pretty frequently, and this likes water. And it gets a lot of shade, but some early morning sun. And this here is a blood good Japanese maple. Check out those beautiful red stems. I used to have Japanese maples at the old house. They were about 2 years old and doing really well. And then when we drove by, they had died. So here in Texas, like they don't really grow super well. So you kind of have to know what you're doing or what you're looking at. Because they're just a little bit of a rarity. It just gets really, really hot on them, but this is kind of the perfect space for them, as was my previous garden. But they need water. Water, water, water. Hi, Edgar. This is Edgar. He's super loud. And these are some of our young chickens that are out and about this morning. Hello, friends. These are some pavers that we are making to finish out the pond. So the pond isn't finished. Like, you can see that it has stuff that needs to be done to it, right? But we're going to make our own rocks. So we bought the molds, and my husband mixed up the concrete and poured it in there. You have to use, like, cooking oil to get them out. It's, like, a whole thing, but it's kind of fun. But, yes, this is the garden this morning, and it is already getting so crazy hot. So crazy hot. I'm ready to go back inside. But I hope that you have a great rest of your day. Thank you guys so much for watching. Also, I do want to say, like, if you stayed this long, you're awesome. But also, if you guys are new, or if anybody is watching me for, like, the second time, I appreciate you guys, all the love on the tiny house. It's been amazing. This is so exciting that people like my house and my garden and all the things that I've worked really hard on. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please consider subscribing. I will see you in the next video.